All right, cut the intro music. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Futbol on Full Heel. Man, we got some shit for you today. It was quite a weekend of European football that we just had. And here to talk about it with me, as usual, my boys Andres and Johnny.
Yo.
Rafa holding this down as usual in the studio. And I, of course, am Frankie. Well, you guys tied on picks last week, so congrats to you guys. 3 picks each. My picks were pretty shot right from the jump. The UEFA Champions League quarterfinals were absolutely wild, as Johnny likes to say. Dreams were shattered, right? Hearts were broken. People wept.
Heineken was chugged.
Heineken was indeed drank copious amounts of Heineken. We'll start, I guess, right from last week. Last Wednesday, we had the first quarterfinal. And again, with the first one, didn't seem like I guess it was an interesting matchup, considering that Atalanta was firing on all cylinders and scoring goals left, right, and center. And PSG has some superstars. But what seemed to be, I guess, kind of like not one of the premier ties of the quarterfinals, ended up being absolutely magical, thrilling at the end. Atalanta looked like they had the 1-0 victory wrapped up before PSG stormed back and get 2 goals in stoppage time to win 2-1. And then right from the jump, right, we saw the magic of European football, right? So what do you guys have to say about that match? It looked like Atalanta was going to pull it away, and then it looks like they just got tired at the end from what I could watch, or it looks like that's my opinion anyway. Too much quality from PSG. Did Atalanta gas themselves? Is PSG just fresher because they've only played BS friendlies and cup finals? What do you guys make of PSG's last minute thrilling victory? How about we start with Andres?
Well, I guess if you want to criticize PSG right from the get-go, they look severely undermanned in that midfield and moving forward. You can already tell that without Mbappe, the Neymar show is on full blast in the mid and open field, but the finishing from Neymar was atrocious. So Icardi doesn't make the runs. They definitely needed Di Maria, missing a couple players, Verratti. So it definitely looked like Atalanta could steal that one, which was kind of what I was leaning towards. But yeah, they definitely looked the more tired side. Their lack of depth showed. And well, I mean, you got 2 late goals from Mbappe, or with the help of Mbappe and Neymar, and who Muto Chong scored, or what was his name? Chopin?
Choupo-Moting. Yeah. Eric, he's got a long ass name. Choupo-Moting.
There you go. The unlikely hero shows up, and I mean that's yeah, I mean, hopefully for the next game they get, full strength, or, a little bit more players back into the lineup. But I think the rest definitely benefited France and the French teams in this round. And Atalanta was just, I mean, the magic was there, but they just didn't have enough gas in the tank for me.
I think PSG started off strong. Neymar was missing a lot. He was the best player on the field, though. He was single-handedly kind of carrying PSG because of what you mentioned, the lack of the depth or players in the mid. Di Maria was missing. Verratti was missing. And I think someone else, right? In the mid, he had a yellow card, the other defensive mid. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Paredes was there. Yeah, him. Yeah. So there was no real connection between Icardi and Neymar because Sarabia was kind of not really being effective. But Neymar, I mean, he had a great game. He missed a lot, and I don't know if that's for the same reason that they're not playing. They hadn't played really I mean, they were playing friendlies, but not to the level of Atalanta. And Atalanta, I mean, they really impressed me. They were a hard-pressing team. They know what they're playing. They have a lot of physically strong players. Their coach is really good. He's not afraid to kind of risk it all. But at the end, it was Mbappe came in with 30 minutes left. He kind of changed the game right away, started making runs, taking on players, giving Neymar a little bit more air, a little more room to do work. And then they get one goal, and then out of nowhere, they get the second goal. Everyone was thinking they were going to go to extra time. But once they got that first goal, it was kind of leaning toward PSG, and I guess they didn't want to wait till extra time, and they finished it off with a how do you call him? The forward? He
Eric
pulled an
Maxim.
Origi.
Oh,
yeah.
Choupo-Moting.
Yeah, Choupo-Moting. Because he came out for Icardi, who hadn't been that great. And then right away, he kind of established himself in the middle or as a center forward. And, yeah, I mean, that's the Champions League magic, you know? Crazy stuff happens.
Yeah.
And you can always expect something to happen, you know? But But PSG, I mean, Neymar, to me, he looked good. Besides the poor finishing, but he looked good. If Mbappe is healthy now, they're gonna get the Maria back. They're gonna get Verratti back. They're gonna get Goye in the mid back, and I think they can compete. Their defense is not that great, but I mean, we'll see. Navas was injured too, so that's something to look for. But probably that's my pick in the champs to win it now since City's out. But yeah, that's kind of what I noticed.
I'm glad you bring up Navas though, because he actually had a great match too.
I mean, Keylor Navas.
Keylor Navas had a great match, and now he's probably going to miss the semifinal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, we were trying to figure out who the second string goalkeeper is there at PSG, but I'll admit too, I've been calling PSG bottlers, and I saw them far from the final, so I'll admit that I was wrong. And yeah, I was already taking a lap and talking shit in our chat about how PSG was trash and how they weren't anywhere near close to winning a major title other than the French league, and then they come back and rally and score 2 goals in extra time. Shut me up real quick. But yeah, no, again, these ties, I think what we're seeing too is since it's just, single elimination, these teams are going all out, right? I will also say too that Johnny brought up a good point, and another point that we'll bring on that'll become crucial at other points too. Mbappe and Choupo-Moting, right? Proactive substitutions from Tuchel. One of the other things, again, that we'll talk about is coaching decisions and tactics. He got it spot on, right, by subbing those guys in when he did, and they're the ones who ended up connecting for the game winner, right? And
then sometimes that's what you need. You just need a goal from someone you don't really expect it, or from a player that you didn't think was the most key. It happens every year with teams like Liverpool when they came back, Roma, sometimes you want to tie off a set piece, and in this case, it paid off. It paid off really, really well for them, and they didn't even have to go to extra time.
So, yeah, PSG advances to semifinal. In the first semifinal, that'll be, tomorrow, actually, at 2 p.m. And again, thrilling finish, really exciting stuff there in the first quarterfinal. You think, nothing can top this, right? Wrong. The next day, RB Leipzig booted Atletico Madrid out of the competition by winning 2-1. Tyler Adams, the young American, with the game winner with 5 or 6 minutes remaining in the match as well. So crucial goal at the end. To be fair to Oblak and Atletico Madrid, it was a deflected effort. So he really didn't stand a chance once it took the deflection. But I picked Atletico, ended up screwing me over in the picks. But I got to say, RB without Werner still looks pretty threatening. I had kind of wrote them off because Timo Werner had left. And obviously he was like their high scorer and is a fast player and a difference maker. But it looks like they've got those all around. Danny Olmo scored. Tyler Adams came in off the bench, another sub to win it, right? Another key coaching decision from Nagelsmann there. And that guy's like our age, boys. That guy's 33 years old. And he's coaching RB Leipzig to the semifinals of the Champions League. So again, I got to say, no disrespect to RB, but this was a shocker, right? You'd expect Atletico and Simeone to bunker down, strike on the counter, and progress, right? What do you think went wrong for Atletico here?
I could start on this one.
Yeah.
I think from the jump, it was the lineup. I expected Felix to start, and he didn't start, and it was kind of I thought Atletico was good enough to dominate possession, and they weren't. RB was had the more possession, so Atletico kind of adapted a more counter-attacking, which I guess is expected. But I thought, like for like, Atletico had the more quality, and they didn't show it. RB looked the better team. They looked like they had the better ideas, and they scored first. And then they won the game, you know. Atletico kind of all season has been the theme with them. We don't really know what they're playing. Besides, like, they're not as strong defensively as they've been. And it was a deflection, but to be honest, like, they weren't playing great. Felix came on kind of late and did more than the whole team did, like, for 70 minutes, it seemed like. And it was really a bummer because most of us thought Atletico would win. I picked Red Bull just to pick them, but help me win the picks with Andres or Ty. But yeah, Simeone just kind of, I don't know. I mean, and then this will come up as you're saying, like these themes, you know. It felt like Atletico wasn't up for it. It felt like they didn't prepare for Red Bull. It felt like they were just kind of there. It felt like the subs were a little bit late. And it just felt like the better team won, you know? Sometimes teams lose key players and they get inspired. And I think that's what's going on with Red Bull. Granted, they've been playing good all year and it showed, you know?
Yeah, no, a lot of quality, young, really fast, dynamic players that they've got there. And yeah, they were just pressing Atletico all over the field, playing them into problems. Again, I think you're spot on with everything you said. Joao Felix didn't start, and as soon as he came on, he kind of sparked them. Granted, he was a penalty that he converted, and that tied it for Atletico for a little bit. But yeah, no, spot on. What do you think on Andres?
I think that we kind of noticed in the Liverpool game that Atletico doesn't have a forward. Diego Costa is not, you know, what he used to be. Morata doesn't show up. You don't play Felix, you weren't going to get any goals. I mean, I can understand why they play Llorente because of what he did against Liverpool, but he was never the answer moving forward. So I would have thought they would have maybe stayed compact and maybe hit Leipzig on, you know, a counter or something. But Leipzig was relentless. That style of play is, you know, similar to how Liverpool had Atletico. They just kept, you know, finding spaces and trying to find something. Even without Timo Werner, they were still a danger. So, yeah, Atletico has to either, you know, revamp that forward line, or they have to figure out, you know, what they're going to do with Joao Felix, what his position is, and, you know, where does Llorente play? You know, he's not a forward. I mean, probably just for the game, but
I think he's a defensive mid by trade too. That's crazy.
Yeah, so like Johnny said, the lineup, having him up top from the beginning was kind of just like, I know you don't have a forward, but this is kind of pushing. And then I think Thomas Partey, since he wasn't 100% fit, that was a huge loss. I mean, credit to Herrera. He did his, you know, he played admirably, but he's also a big miss for them in that mid. So, yeah, I mean, Atletico, they showed a lot of promise with beating Liverpool, but I guess they don't have enough fire. Yeah, they don't have enough firepower to be a team like, you know, even RB. And maybe even a little bit of, you know, tiredness too with, you know, trying to fight for a Champions League spot for the end of the season. So definitely like Liga teams were suffering there with, you know, the long season and then having to do Champions right after that.
I told you that no matter who they played next, they were gonna lose.
Yeah, no, I was sure that Simeone could make them and take them on a run with the
yeah. Even at some point though, you would think that they would hold them for a 1-1, like you said, Atletico Madrid special, extra times, you go to penalties. I mean, I know they weren't gonna get goals, but maybe in a knockout tie, Simeone pulls a super defensive tie and wins it extra time. I don't know. That's what I was expecting, but it looks like once they're a goal down, you weren't gonna find anything from them.
I think what Johnny said makes sense too. Is that they're just not the same defensive quality as they have been in the past, right? Specifically at center back, Goldin is gone. Who did they play? They played Savage and Jimenez, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I thought I don't know why I wanted to say Jimenez came on as a sub, right? Or maybe I'm wrong.
He's a starter.
They brought in Felipe as a sub, right? The center back, I think at some point. But no, yeah, I guess no. Jimenez is a quality center back. I guess the jury's kind of out on Savage. I can't really say I've watched him well enough, but he's no Godin, right? Or what Godin did there for Atletico. So I would agree that maybe there's just some quality missing there in the defense where that was their strength right before. And I know we kind of not argued, but kind of talked about how Simeone is getting critiqued after this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess you guys are kind of voicing the critiques against him, right? That there's no real attacking flow, right? That they, other than breaking after being, compact and organized, that he doesn't really have, I guess, a plan B or an idea for attacking, right? Just like they say about Mourinho. Mourinho keeps teams really organized and well defensive, but doesn't know how to attack, right? And just kind of lets the players figure it out on their own. Would you guys agree with that about Simeone? Or would you guys agree more with the statement that, I guess, both of you guys have already started to kind of mention Costa and Morata and the like aren't the answer, right? So he's not being helped by the players. Is this a coaching thing, a tactics thing with Simeone and then his offense, or is this just the players that he has aren't misfiring?
I mean, for champions, you don't. I mean, the way that it was set up with two legs, his style of play, holding home advantage and being defensive works. Usually, the better defensive team goes far in tournaments. But he didn't have a forward line all season. They lost Griezmann, who was arguably their only major star forward in that team. So I didn't expect them to make a really far run in Champions, but I guess maybe with the momentum of Liverpool, they could have maintained that. Obviously, with the restart, they kind of lost that, and I'm not putting this against Simeone. I think he's still a great coach. I think without him, Atletico would be, I don't know, a Valencia type team. They would not even be in, this conversation. So we have to kind of also put into perspective what Simeone brings to the table. And I would give him another transfer season to see how he manages, whether he tries to go offensive or, what players he decides to add to the team.
So I think it's a couple things. When the season started, you kind of thought the Simeone was going to have a little bit more of an attacking team because they had Joao Felix, but he hasn't really fit into the team, and I don't know if Simeone has really accommodated for him. So he kind of subbed him out in this game because he couldn't really do the things he wanted, which is probably track back a lot and kind of be more defensive so they could counter. But that doesn't mean that you start Carrasco, who was in China for half of the season, and then you start Llorente as like a makeshift center mid / forward. And they have a little bit of the City thing going on where they lost some of their cultural type players and Godin and Gabi in the midfield. Koke was really nowhere to be found. Saul kind of hasn't been making those runs up that they usually do. And how Andres said, Morata and Costa just haven't been On point. I would have thought they started Morata and they started Costa, who didn't do absolutely anything. Not even provoke a red card or something, you know, how he usually does. But I also don't knock it against Simeone because I think it's what Andres said. He tried to be a little bit more defensive and thought that he was going to be able to break, but he came up against a team that just had better ideas and has honestly been playing better all season.
Yeah, so this sets us up with a really interesting matchup, right? We have a team from Germany against a team from France in the first semifinal being played tomorrow at 2 p.m. So we have RB Leipzig versus PSG. Really, really intriguing matchup here. I think Tuchel might have some familiarity of RB, right? Since he has coached previously in Germany. He is German, right? So I'd say he's got a pretty good scouting report on RB. But I think this sets up for a really, really interesting matchup. Mostly because PSG, their defenses can be exploited, right? It can be breached. And RB is one of those high press, high energy teams that's going to get the ball back almost as quickly as they lose it. So I think this could be another high scoring matchup. Do you guys have anything to, short of making a pick, because we'll do that at the end, is there anything you guys are looking forward to, or what do you guys think what are you guys expecting from this matchup, rather? Tomorrow.
I think RB will pose a similar threat to Atalanta, that it's going to be a whole team effort as opposed to counting on individuals to pull them through. And PSG's probably going to see a lot of the similar pressing that Atalanta did. And PSG didn't fare that well against it. So it should be I'm expecting a good amount of goals in this one. And it's like, who's the RB for number 7? He's been amazing for them with the little ponytail.
Sabitzer. He's from Austria.
Yeah, he's been really good, man. I mean, at this point, I really don't know what's going to happen anymore, and it's like I wouldn't be surprised if he has a great game and kind of pulls them through, you know. But PSG returns to a full strength squad, so this is about as good of a chance as they're ever going to get, ever. So I don't know. The pressure is on, and it seemed like I don't know if it was the pressure or if it was Neymar not being fresh enough, but he was missing goals that you don't expect a player of his caliber to miss. You know? Now he gets Mbappe back, who should help with a lot of that, but it's kind of the theme that we've been seeing. Like, you can't rely just on individuals to pull you through, because it's a team effort, and you know, it's the Champions League. Like, you make one error, whatever, and you're done. And PSG does not seem to be having it in the bag. I mean, even with the game against Atalanta, you can't say that PSG have a certain style to them besides give the ball to Neymar or give the ball to Mbappe, give the ball to Di Maria, whereas Red Bull is a team effort, you know, pressing, playing, tactics, plays, and all that. So I'm actually geeked for this matchup, so we'll see.
What do you think, Andres?
I'm expecting goals, like Johnny said. RB they play fearless. I don't think they're scared of any PSG players. I don't think they're young enough, like, you know, Dortmund was or felt like they were against PSG, because that's another team that kind of looks similar to RB. Or similar to like Dortmund when they played. So I guess that's my only like comparison that I can go off for this match. But I think Keylor Navas is a big miss for PSG. So we'll see if whoever replaces him, Rico, I think his name is, whether he's, you know, worthy enough to, you know, stop all these shots.
Yeah, also want to mention, I know Johnny mentioned Marcel Sabitzer. They also have, I briefly mentioned earlier, Danny Olmo, right? Olmo's been huge for them since he transferred. It was in January, right? That he joined from, he was in Croatia at Zagreb. And big shout out, I know you mentioned him before, Andres, Dayo Upamecano. He was massive against Atletico, the young French center back. He's probably one that you can probably expect some big clubs to be kind of angling for, because he was huge in that match, and one of the big reasons why the attacking players there at RB have so much success, right? They can build off of that, and I think again this one sets up to be really, really interesting. RB, the very intense, quick system from the young coach there, Nagelsmann, and PSG's there to be exploited. But again, they just have so much attacking power in just two players that you can never rule them out, right? And obviously you can never rule anything out, as we saw in PSG's last matchup. So, throughout the rest of this show, while we're talking, I'm gonna kind of have to be debating, because I don't know which way to pick for this one, honestly. But yeah, no, RB's got some potential difference makers there, but so does PSG. So single leg. Hopefully we get another like a 3-2 or something like that, back and forth. Something exciting on your Tuesday afternoon. Now, if you thought PSG with those 2 late goals was shocking, or RB dropping a I guess not a favorite, but a perennial contender like Atletico Madrid wasn't shocking enough. On Friday, myself and the boys gathered to watch Barcelona versus Bayern Munich. I think we all picked Bayern. Actually, no, we all definitely picked Bayern. So we were all expecting Barcelona to lose, but what we witnessed is still hard for me to talk about. Barcelona absolutely decimated 8-2, giving up 4 goals within 30 minutes. They were realistically done within the first 30 minutes of the match. It was brutal to watch. And I think insult was added to injury at the end, with Coutinho contributing to 3 goals in the last 10 minutes to absolutely just ice the match. Again, we all expected the loss, but I think we were all just kind of taken aback to the blowout, right? Bayern, I guess we'll start with the simple part of this. Bayern is great, right? We've been trying to find. I've been trying to find fault with them all season, right? Saying that they haven't truly been tested in their league. Saying that they had some rather easy opponents in the Champions League, but they've now scored like 40 goals almost in the Champions League, which is something like a record. They're going from strength to strength. Boateng, I mean, granted, Johnny has gone on record and said many times he doesn't consider Barcelona a great team, so he didn't know if they were going to truly test Bayern Munich, but Boateng and Alaba were relatively untested, other than, Alaba's slice into the goal, right?
Well, Suarez dropped Boateng on the goal too.
Yeah, Suarez with the lone moment of magic for Barcelona, but wow, guys, just wow. Just another sign that change is absolutely needed at Barcelona, right? We're hearing whispers of Messi potentially leaving 2021, but now even hearing whispers of him leaving as soon as this summer, right? I gotta believe that that's just some leveraging, some politicking to get some movement and get some fundamental and structural change at the club. But I think, again, we've been calling it all season that this club is in shambles and disarray and tatters even, right? But this has to be like the cherry on top, right? Something has to go after this, right?
Yep.
And already somebody has. Setien was fired yesterday. And I don't think it's been officially confirmed. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like Ronald Koeman is going to be the new manager there. So we're already starting to see change managerially. The rot is at the top, right? They got to change the boardroom. They got to change the president. They have to have elections as soon as possible, right? This club cannot afford to lose Messi, but it looks more possible than ever, right?
Yeah, if they lose, well, I'll just say this. Messi doesn't owe Barcelona anything anymore. He has done a lot for the club. He's been loyal to the club. The club has not been, serving Messi and, playing out his last, 5 years in his prime to his full potential. And that's a letdown. And I mean, you see Messi had let down every season. So this A2 definitely was like, man, how do I even go back to the fans and tell them we're going to try again harder next season? Like, he said that 2 seasons in a row already. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not going to go back out on the field and be like, yo, guys, sorry we lost 8-2. We're going to try to win champs again this season. Like, he can't. He even went on, he knew. I mean, obviously when Messi tells you on, the press, this team is not good enough to win champions, you got to believe he knows what it takes to win champions. He's been on Champions Leagues winning teams. So he kind of already knew it. And I think the 8-2 was just embarrassing, his worst loss of the career. And if he leaves, I would not be surprised if he, still wants to remain competitive, maybe in Italy or EPL, wherever he decides to go, or just take it easy in Argentina. Who knows? But I mean, his wages are definitely hindering the club from moving forward. I don't know if like other players on that team are gonna, step down and be like, we're not cut for this anymore. But you're right. There has to be change. And if Barcelona wants to, still remain a top 4 team, even in La Liga, they have to, get the ball going right now. So it's sad to see it, but I mean, we weren't surprised. I wasn't surprised.
I mean, where do we even start with this? It's just like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but remember I said, I hope Barcelona loses to Napoli because they're going to get embarrassed. and surely enough, what the heck happened? Their biggest loss ever. It was a complete, like, it wasn't even a match. How Frankie said from minute one, like they were already like under pressure. Barca started the wrong lineup again, which again is what we're calling this theme of coaches and just kind of putting out some doo-doo lineups. And like Busquets was never going to be able to hold that mid down. They threw De Jong on the side. They threw Roberto on the side instead of like throwing like Griezmann or Dembele. I remember I said, why don't you just play a 4-3-3 and one of the forwards drops back when they got to defend? Instead, he's like, I'm going to play Roberto, who he's played on numerous occasions when big matches are up, like against Madrid and in this tie. And I think even in the last tie against Napoli, they threw Sergi Roberto. And it's just a complete disarray. It's always hard for a team to really have expectations to win when there's trouble that stems further than the team with the boards and then all that stuff. But like what we saw was just like honestly embarrassing from a Barcelona standpoint. Like a lot of the times, like they were just not pressing. They were letting the Bayern players like just kind of go. Granted, though, every single Bayern player was better than every single Barca player, literally from top to bottom. Barca they need changes, man, and it's like this is the nail on the coffin. How you said, Frankie, that it's like they need change, and they need it now. And it's like it's honestly Messi's only time to really leave, because if I don't know that they're going to be competitive again next year or be able to win the champs. So that kind of takes away one of Messi's years to really try to win the champs again. So I wouldn't like hate him if he leaves, but I guess I don't think he leaves. I think he's just kind of, how you're saying, using it as leverage. But just mad props to Bayern, mad props to Andres, who's been calling Bayern since around December.
Yep.
They're stacked from top to bottom. They started Perisic, he got a goal. Mueller has been outstanding since like December, since Hansi Flick has came on. Bayern this is how I think of Bayern when I think of them. They're very mechanical, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, And it's like some of the plays were like FIFA too, do a 1-2 on the side. They get down on the line. Barca's not pressing, so the Bayern players take their space. They keep going forward until someone comes, then they pass, and then they score. I mean, how many times have we not seen this season Busquets just freaking diving at a player on defense and then giving up a goal because he dived, he can't go back. The defense is unsettled. Ter Stegen can't save him by himself. Messi was nowhere to be found. The lineup again left a lot to be desired.
Man,
Messi didn't have anyone to play with. Yeah, go for it.
Even Ter Stegen, he kicked the ball out to Bayern like at least 3 times, or he kicked it straight. I remember one time straight at Thiago, and Thiago almost started to play where they counterattacked. And I think it's what you said. The quality in Bayern's squad is just so much better. And not just quality as in technique. They're just so much faster and stronger, right? Like Goretzka is freaking jacked out there, right? Goretzka and Thiago straight bossed Barca's midfield, right? They were doing whatever. Like you said, 1-2s. Thiago and Goretzka set up for, I think it was the Gnabry goal, right?
Yeah.
And then it was
over
a quick
the top.
ball over the top, right? And drop Longley as he was trying to go back and defend. There was just boys against men out there. It was absolutely embarrassed. It's like you said, Messi said they didn't have, and I think he used those words, the garra, right? The grit, the desire. The Barca team just gave up, man. It was absolutely pathetic. Depressing in every sense of the word, right? And depressing because, again, there's nothing to be not hopeful for, but I mean, it's a mess at the board. It's a mess with the manager. It's a mess with the players. Like at every level, there's failure at the club right now. They need a reset, right? I think Piqué was like really emotional, but also, I mean, obviously is also the most mature and realistic take was that he said that if he has to leave the club, right, or if he has to step down and not be a starter anymore, then so be it, right? Because he called it rock bottom, and that's absolutely where Barcelona is rock bottom. 0 trophies for the first time since Frank Rijkaard was fired, which was 07-08. That's 12 years, where they absolutely almost were the best team in the world every year, right? Not every single year, but we're talking 2 trebles, tiki-taka, the false 9 revolution, Messi's, 90-goal season or whatever it was, to this, right? They didn't even put up a fight. It was really, really sad, really, really bad. Again, like Johnny said, all the props to Bayern because they're just firing on all cylinders right now. Perisic had an amazing game, and he's usually not a starter. Nicolas Sula came on at the end, right, which is their starting center back before he tore his ACL at the start of the season, right? So they're just going from strength to strength and depth, right? So, yeah.
Davies, what a game Davies had.
Davies single-handedly probably ended Nelson Semedo's career. And you know what else I realized about that play, guys? That's something that should never really happen in football. The left back crossed it in for the right back to score. You had a left back to right back to score. Like the only time that ever happens is like Liverpool, right? When you've got the Robertson to TAA. Like that's not really supposed to happen where your 2 defensive fullbacks hook each other up for a goal, right? That's just absolute failure on Barcelona's part.
I mean, Kimmich knows they have no wingers, so he's like, even if I press this high up, no one's gonna come out and run at me. Who's gonna run at you? On the left side, Alba.
Yeah. None of the players did themselves any favors out there. At the end too, like Johnny already said, with the 4 midfielders, including Vidal and Sergi Roberto. No, not even Rakitic. It was, just upsetting, man. I drank so much Heineken on Friday because, again, I was expecting the loss, but this was 4-1 at halftime. I was upset. And
then 1 sub only, Griezmann. Like, what did I want to say? Oh yeah, and then coming into the tie, there was a little bit of hope brewing up for Barca. They were like, you know what? Maybe we're gonna do something a little different. They've been practicing for Bayern, but it was the complete opposite because I hadn't heard the press conference until halftime, but it was like Vidal and Sieten and even Messi were just saying outlandish stuff, like completely preposterous. Vidal was saying this isn't a German team. Yeah, you're about to play the best team in the world. And I think Messi even said, like, they're not going to be ready for us. And Sieten was saying Lewandowski's not on Messi's level, and it's just, like, not a like for like. And it's like, bro, Lewandowski's been probably the best player in the world this year. And it's just, like, kind of, like, there's just so much to say, but kind of how you mentioned, like, the physicality was a lot, like, it was, like, night and day between like Goretzka and the midfield of Barca. But again, what have we not said all year? How do you stop Barca? You just stop Messi and you overrun the mid. And then as soon as that lineup was out, you already know Bayern was like, this is even easier. There's no X factor. They didn't throw Dembele. They didn't even try to start Griezmann. So off the start, it was like, what's Messi really creating with? And it's been the same thing all year. The whole team has been Ter Stegen, Messi, Vidal, and Suarez. And it's like those are the only players that are really playing. De Jong has no support. Busquets has just not been doing it this year. He's still a great player, but he just hasn't been able to do what he usually has to do. Who tells Sieten to start Sergio Roberto? Like, come on. Like, Rakitic is a far better option. And why do you throw De Jong on the wing when he hasn't even been playing that? It's like, it's honestly ridiculous. And it's like, it made it easier for Bayern, honestly. You think they're going to try to mark Sergio Roberto because he's going to be an attacking threat? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, you're right. Like, you neutralize Messi and you neutralize the threat. But the thing is, like, they didn't even have to neutralize Messi. Like, they were winning the ball back in the attacking third, and the ball never got to Messi. They cut off all service to Barcelona's best play. Best chance, right? Which again is spot on and brilliant. Props to them. But it's not like they got the ball to Messi and he couldn't do anything with it, right? It was just he didn't even get the ball. Barcelona, it was like they weren't even there. And yeah, they really need to look inward and top to bottom. They need to just clear it out. Everybody's got to go.
I think when Suarez went out, we saw progress with Griezmann and Messi. Honestly, like, we were seeing a little bit of progress of them linking up, scoring goals. As soon as Suarez got back in the picture, they got worse. Honestly, that was the Messi and Suarez BFF show, and what happened there? Nothing happened between those two. So I think moving forward, if you want to stick with Griezmann, it's tough to say, but you have to make Griezmann the center of the attack. I mean, he's your $150, $20 million man. Let him play like one, feed him the ball, make him, score 30 goals a season. He's probably capable of doing it, but I saw a lot of regression with not playing Griezmann, not, having even Fati on the field, and just playing Suarez and Messi and having those two kind of create everything.
Well, here's the other thing. It's like, if you're going to start just one forward or two forwards and Messi and Suarez, you already know Suarez doesn't have the pace to really threat on the ball that he used to. So I would have thought, you know what, maybe bench Suarez if you're going to try this formation and start Griezmann up top, kind of how he plays for France, kind of how he played for Atletico, with Messi right behind him, and try to do it with them two, and it was just ridiculous. And this will be the last thing I comment on Barca, because Bayern was honestly spectacular. From top to bottom, how we said, they're coming up the sides, they're playing good football. Goretzka's bossing the mid. Thiago is classy as hell. Kimmich is a top right back in the world, and he can play everything. Bayern has so many players that can play multiple positions. Mueller has been outstanding. Lewandowski only scored 1 goal this whole game, and they still scored 8. They have Serge Gnabry, who's had a great season.
He's cooking.
Some of those, like, that over the top ball was ridiculous, and it's just like, Bayern are the overwhelming favorites. Hansi Flick has done a great job with them, just kind of instilling that real Bayern style to them, and they honestly look unstoppable.
Yeah, no, definitely watch us, watch this space, watch, football news and sports news, because the possibility of Messi leaving Barcelona is becoming realer and realer every single day. Like Andres said, he's done so much for the club. He doesn't owe them anything. And he's 33. If he wants to compete, I can totally understand why he would want to leave now or next summer. But can you imagine? I mean, you're not going to get 100 mil for Messi at 34, right? But
I think you could.
Imagine him walking for free next summer. That's crazy. It's a possibility. It's a possibility.
He scored 30 plus goals, 20 assists. Come on, bro. He still commands 100 mil.
What? Ronaldo went to Juve for right around 100? 90?
Yeah, 100. 100, I thought.
And he was what, 33 at the time? Yeah. That's Messi's age right now, man. And I don't know.
Good thing you brought that up. It's like all these rumors now, and it's like the crazy rumor of the week was that Barca might just try to get CR7. But it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to think of that too because of the wages. I think I brought it up today. Barcelona has the highest wages of any team in the world. Messi wins like upwards to 40 million euros a year. So it's like,
not a lot of teams are going to be able to.
Well, that's where when you think logistically or logically, it's like Barca need players. So do they want to try to start rebuilding, or are they going to try to keep with what they've been doing? Is kind of not older players, but do it with what they have,
right?
And then say they put all their effort in trying to make it win right now. What happens when Messi does leave in 2 years, and now they have an even older squad and haven't adjusted in any of the positions that they're going to have to need moving forward? And I've seen a lot of people say too that they're the next AC Milan, and it's like, it's for an institution like Barca. I know this is what you've been kind of hinting at all the time, Frankie, is like they need a new board, and it's like they need the elections now. But even like with the circumstances, can they really do them now? The season starts in like a couple weeks,
right?
So it's like, it's crazy for Barca, and it's crazy to think the craziest thing is that Messi has played probably his one of like five great seasons, and he hasn't been able to deliver even one Champions League. And it's like it's kind of a shame, and it hurts for me that now we're seeing a lot of, like, from our age, where I was born in 91, like a lot of the players that I used to see are done, and Messi has been honestly the best player in the world since he came into the scene. And it's just like it's all ending now, and now it's more of a, now that's where you're where Barca's at, that shock, that reality, that whole conundrum that they're in now, but they have no one to blame but themselves.
Absolutely. Because look at when Messi came. They had Ronaldinho was a star, right? You had Deco there. You had other stars, and they were able to transition away from that and go on to prolonged success. There's been no prolonged success. We've had $100 million flops. And then, like you said, the matter of wages is kind of an issue, right? Can they bring good players? Then you've got botched contracts like Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba, both in their 30s now and both under contract for another 3 and 4 years, right? Those guys are still going to be getting paid a lot, right? And they're both in their 30s, and they're both, I would say, two of the contenders to be, dropped, right? Or maybe no longer starters.
Well, how does Barca feel when one of their 130 million pound investments is on the other team scoring against them with 2 goals and 1 assist?
I don't. So I've hesitated to say this over the last couple of days because obviously I come off a little bit biased too. But those 2 goals and that assist for Coutinho came in garbage time. So I don't really want to. I don't know if it, give him a whole bunch of credit for it, right? But at that point, the match is over and done with, right? But no, yeah, definitely, like I said, insult to injury. speaking of insult to injury and craziness, the very next day, while we're still reeling and trying to digest and process the absolute devastation of Barcelona, Manchester City get knocked out by Olympique Lyon. Olympique Lyon beats Manchester City 3-1, guys.
Craziness.
I was already at a loss of words over Barca, and I was just watching this match as a neutral. But I was blown away when it went to 2-1, and then when Raheem Sterling missed that sitter. Oh my God, guys! I've seen some pretty bad misses, but considering what was on the line and the fact that I've seen goals missed like that, but that's probably, we talked about Neymar missing a really bad one. This was worse than the one that Neymar missed against Atalanta. And what should have been 2-2 moments later was 3-1 when Moussa Dembele put it away, right? And Manchester City, once again, after having beat the ban for the Champions League, are out with having so much depth and star power. I guess I'll lead with this. Even before, both of you guys were already crying foul over the lineups. I know both of you guys didn't like them. You guys thought it was defensive. In the past, Guardiola has shot himself in the foot by overthinking or doing too much. This was definitely the case again, right?
Yup.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it. You saw it in Bayern Munich when he plays a three-man backline against Barcelona, and that's when Messi dropped that masterclass. You saw it against Liverpool. He kind of just went gun-ho on Liverpool, who was also just, straight attack. So I was kind of expecting him to use a little bit more balanced attack, not just reliant on Kevin De Bruyne. And he kind of shied away from players that were in form. I mean, Phil Foden, gotta give him credit. He was playing spectacular in the league. I don't know why he didn't get even a start there. He played well as a false nine. I would have imagined he gets at least a spot there, but he opted to play Rodri, Gundogan, and Fernandinho on top of his two other center backs. So I thought that was a player in the midfield who probably was doing a job that someone else was doing. And I understand why Pep did it, because Lyon can kind of play into those spaces. And if they get past those three guys, then you're kind of against really slow center backs, which you kind of saw with their first goal when they kind of beat Eric Garcia and they just knocked it back, score the goal. Ederson played poor as well. But, I mean, if we're talking about lineups, yeah, I definitely expected more from Pep from the beginning. And, yeah, we just saw a lot of... I mean, they have been very unlucky the past two seasons. Pep could just be very unlucky, to be honest.
Nah,
I mean...
Stop it.
You do need luck, though, for champions, but... Yeah, for Raheem Sterling to miss a shot like that and possibly...
They had the luck, bro. They got the tie against Lyon.
And you know what? Not to ride against Sterling too much. Jesus had a pretty golden opportunity to take the lead too. That he botched.
Volley?
Yeah. Where he actually probably had enough time to maybe let it go down a little bit more or even control it, right? And instead he volleyed it out and it didn't work out for him. But yeah, I think you guys did a pretty good job of explaining to me. My logic was it's Manchester City, right? Regardless of how many center backs or how many center mids you play, they've got attacking power and potency all around, right? I thought as long as you had Kevin De Bruyne spraying diagonal balls to fast guys like Raheem Sterling, they were always going to be dangerous, right? And honestly, they were more dangerous probably, but the finishing and again, just Lyon taking advantage, right, of first of all, ball over the top. They took advantage of the high line for the first goal, right? The defense made a save, and then Cornet was just a brilliant one-time finish, right, with Ederson way off his line. The second one was the penalty. No, I'm making that shit up. No. Yeah, no, but like, not as bad as the individual errors that Varane had, right? Like with Real Madrid in the previous round, but yeah, again, Pep Guardiola is his own worst enemy and just kind of shot himself in the foot here.
Well, two of the second goal, Ederson was high line and they kind of curved it around him, and then the third one he had a really poor save, bounced it back, and the guy just rebounded. Moussa Dembele rebounded, so I think some of it falls on Ederson too. I mean, the guy did not look like a world-class goalkeeper to me. He did not look like Alisson. I mean, you guys love Alisson. He didn't look like Alisson, or Neuer.
He hasn't. Yeah, he definitely hasn't been a top 5 goalkeeper this year. But all right, let me take a jab at it. Where do you even start with this game? It starts with the lineup. Pep kind of had one eye already on Bayern and one eye on Lyon, and he was kind of tinkering with the lineup. Remember what I told you last week again? I was like, Pep needs to come out with Sterling, Jesus, and Mahrez, because we're like, you know what, Mahrez is injured. And then a thing Andres brought a couple weeks ago is like, you know what, Phil Foden has been really good. He should start to play a role in the midfield. He should probably take Gundogan's place, and they should start to play Phil Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, and Rodri or Fernandinho, whoever they want. If they want Fernandinho in the back, whatever they don't. And then Pep starts this lineup, and he puts, again, which has been a theme of this round and been a theme of these Champions League restart, these lineups. He puts 3 center backs, 4 mids, and 2 attackers. And it's like, as a player, you don't usually play that. And City's not playing to their strengths. They're playing to the opposition's weaknesses. And it shot him in the foot again. How we said, Pep is trying to do too much and just not go with what's proven. It's like Mahrez has been great since the new year. He leaves him on the bench. And it's like Sterling has, like, he really wanted just De Bruyne and Sterling to solve the game for him, and it never worked. It took City 70 minutes almost until Mahrez came on to really pose a threat, which is when their first goal came. But again, it was like, I guess it comes back to the inconsistency that City has had all year. And what I've been saying all year is that Pep does not practice defense. Some of those goals, like the Ederson, the last goal, it's like he just gave the ball to the forward, and it was just like, you have 3 center backs and none of them were covering anything. And then it's like, you play Cancelo as a left back who's a natural right back because you don't trust anybody to play left wing back, whatever he played. It's too much overthinking on Pep's part, and it makes me think that he needs a break. It makes me think that players like Kevin De Bruyne might leave. It makes me think that Sterling is not the player that I thought he was. It makes me think that Aguero is never gonna win a Champions League with Man City, but props to Lyon again. They did their thing. They were probably not expecting this lineup. They're a physically strong team, quick, the pie. And again, it goes to the coaching, how Frankie's been mentioning. Rudy Garcia takes out the pie, who you might think is their best player, but he throws on Dembele. Dembele scores the clinching goal, and they're through. So it's like, again, you got to give credit to Lyon, who played their game, and it's just like City were just not there, and it's just like, what is City missing then? That's what makes me think. Is it Pep, or is it the players, or is it the unluckiness? But it's like, honestly, this was the most one-sided tie of the whole round. So for me, it's no excuses. And it's like, for me, I would almost be ready to fire Pep, to be honest with you.
I think once Aguero when injured, that for me was the point where I said City
critical.
aren't going to win this. Yeah, I see Aguero as a difference maker on that forward line. Sterling is prone to be, on and off, and Aguero is more consistent. Big games, he scored against QPR for the title. He scored, against Liverpool in that big game. He comes up big, and I think he was sorely missed here. But yeah, I mean, for all the critiques that we have on all these coaches and players, that's just what makes Pep interesting. He's always dominant and domestic, and European, he falters. Messi, great domestic, or internationally falters. So it's a lot of players and coaches that, make it interesting for the game. They excel in one thing and they don't excel in another thing. And maybe this is just Guardiola's, thing that he won't ever achieve anymore. Or maybe he just needs Messi. Maybe that's what he needs,
That's been the variable, right? Well, again, like Johnny said, Rudy Garcia with the brilliant move to take Depay out. And that's why I said penalty. I was still thinking about Depay's Panenka penalty against Juve. But yeah, Dembele, some people I saw were upset and said that Dembele fouled Laporte on that second goal. Well, there was also calls for offside because the one Lyon player was offside, but he let the ball go. And that's when Dembele was able to catch onto it. Did you guys see any offside or any foul on that second goal? I thought it was clean to me.
Yeah, it looked clean to me. I mean, it was kind of like a little tussle, but I think the ball kept going. That happens. No one sees the last guy running, all the way from the back line. So took advantage, scored, and that was it.
That was all that was missing, right, from these quarterfinals was some controversial VAR bullshit, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm glad it hasn't gone to VAR, to be honest. The refs have been kind of good on calling good calls.
So far, so good. And now this sets us up for the second semifinal of Lyon versus Bayern. One question here for you guys. Lyon has now let me put it this way. Lyon has now slayed two giants. They've taken out Juve and Manchester City. Can they take out Bayern too? Or that's just too much of that's just too tall of a task, right?
I've been advocating Bayern, but this is the only team that scares me, honestly. Lyon scares me, and I would not be surprised if they take out Bayern as well. This is I know the German league isn't as strong as some other leagues, but I think it is very strong. I think a lot of those teams have a lot of quality, but Lyon plays very well. They switch on to defending and intense press, whenever the match needs it. They have players like Aurore in the midfield, who's very crafty. They have, a good back line. They could be outdone with quality, which I think Bayern will have to do because this is going to be a very fast team. Depay and the other guy, I don't remember his name, on the wings. They're basically strikers playing as wingers, so they have to be very careful with these guys. I mean, it's definitely going to affect how Davies and, whoever, Kimmich, if he decides to go up, they're not going to probably attack as much. So it's going to be interesting. I give a lot of credit to Lyon. I know we're not talking about Lyon, but Lyon is a very strong team. They took out two giants for a reason.
Yep. Can they do it, Johnny, or it's all Bayern, right?
Nah, I mean, I'll give credit to where it's due to Lyon, and I think Marcelo had a great game, raised his stock a lot.
Yeah.
Barca should buy him, or they need to buy someone. But I think Bayern wins easy. This is Pep again, how we're saying, shooting themselves in the foot. They played to Lyon's strengths, honestly, with that lineup. And I don't think Bayern is not they played Barca. You think Bayern is going to change their lineup based off of what Barca is doing? They're not. They're going to play a good, strong team. They're going to win 3-0.
Yeah, well, another side note on Lyon. Last summer, they lost three of their most important players. They lost Fekir. Nabil Fekir went to Betis in Spain. Ferland Mendy went to Real Madrid, the left back. And Tanguy and Ndombele went to flop at Spurs and fight with Mourinho, right? But Lyon is one of those clubs that when we were young, they won 7 straight French league titles, right? And then haven't been as dominant, but have always just kind of lingered around and stayed producing talent, right? Let us not forget that Benzema came from Lyon. right? Samuel Umtiti, maybe a bad example because he's been super hurt the last 2 years, right? And now he's got COVID. But he came from Lyon, right? We've got a lot of talent being developed there from provincial club from France. So shout out to them, right? And they were looking fresh in the all black. I also like you guys seen their white uniform. I like that on one shoulder the stripes are red and on the other shoulder they're blue. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that shit looks clean as hell to me.
Didn't they tie? They tied PSG, right, in the Coupe de France, and then had to go to extra time.
To extra time, yeah. See, but here's the thing too that I wanted to kind of throw in. Lyon finished 7th place in France. Granted, they were, I believe, on points they were like 2 points from like 5th or like the European spots, right? But and they didn't finish a complete season, but. This is a knockout tournament, right? And I think Lyon's run is a testament that knockout tournaments is a whole different game than your league, right? So anything's possible in these knockouts depending on how you play it. And now that you don't have to worry about away goals, you just have to stay smart, right? And take advantage of the opportunities.
Yeah, I'll take advantage of the moment right now since we finished all the Champions League ties to bring up the themes again. That props to Andres, who kind of had been calling it earlier. He's like, sometimes you're thinking that teams are going to play their best teams, and they're doing this other stuff. That's what happened with Atletico. That's what happened with Man City, and that's what happened with who else? Like Pep, even the round before against Real Madrid. And it's like sometimes we're assuming these teams are going to be a certain way and they come out a different way. And it makes it harder for us to not to predict, but just to know what's going to happen. And it's like these games are just one-off ties. So it's like the subs are making a big impact and the starting lineups need to be on point. And I'm not blaming it on that. I'm not saying the better teams didn't win, but I'm saying that's definitely played a role in this. And then the second thing I want to bring up is that all the more rested teams passed on every single tie. PSG had not really played. I mean, they haven't played competitively. They played friendlies. Yeah. Germany has been finished for a month already. Yeah. RB passed and Bayern passed, and then Lyon passed.
No, that's
so
actually.
Is that a thing? What's going on? Am I reading too much into that?
I hadn't noticed that until you brought it up right now. But you're right. The PSG has been off, except for those 2 cup finals and like a couple friendlies. And yeah, the German league wrapped up a month ago, like you said. So yeah, I think maybe Barcelona had been poor regardless, right? So I don't want to make any excuses for them. But yeah, maybe it was just too much too soon for all of these teams, right? This is why maybe they were trying to avoid with the 5 substitution rule and all of that.
This is the first time in history that there's no English, no Spanish, and no what's the last side? Italian team in the semis.
This is crazy too because we could potentially end up with an all French or an all German final, right? Or 1-1. I remember 2013 we had the all German final where Bayern actually won the treble. And that's something that I think we didn't even mention too. Bayern can potentially win a treble, becoming the second club to win 2 trebles, right? Which is
PSG can win a treble too, I think.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, you're right. PSG can win a treble, becoming the first French team to do it. So a lot of history still to be written. So semifinals again being played tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll give you the exact time and our picks in a little bit. And then on Sunday, the 23rd at 2 p.m. is the final. Do you guys care to take a guess who ends up in the final? Who you got? I mean, you going
PSG Bayern.
PSG Bayern?
Yeah, for me.
If you're a fan of superstars going at it, yeah, PSG final. If you're a fan of the game, I mean, I wouldn't mind, Bayern. I wouldn't mind a Lyon Leipzig, to be honest. If you want to actually, if you love the game, you wouldn't mind a final like that. It's just two teams that will attack, you know?
When's the last time a smaller club like that won the Champions League, right? Not since Porto, right? Not since Porto won it in 04 with Mourinho, right? That made him the special one. That's the last time we had a not giant club win the Champions League. So, I mean, the romantic, right? If you're romantic and you're into that, I guess. But the cold hard reality is these teams have money and are stacked, right? So I think the likeliest is PSG Bayern, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Bayern RB, right? And I guess I shouldn't write off Lyon for a third straight time because I wrote them off for the last two rounds, and here they are, right? So who knows, man? But I think I'm going to go with Johnny, and I think I can see a PSG Bayern and Bayern winning it over PSG. Unfortunately, we won't be on until next Monday, so we won't make a pick on the final because we won't know what the final is until Wednesday afternoon. But yes,
but we'll probably do a watch along for the final. We can make our picks then.
Yeah, for sure. And then we'll move on to the Europa League, the secondary tournament there in Europe. United losing their third semifinal of the season, right? For the other two the other two cup competitions, and now Europa. They were beaten by Sevilla 2-1. Johnny, I gotta say, hilariously called another penalty for Man United. Manchester United, up until yesterday, had 21 penalties awarded, and Johnny kind of made the half joking, half serious. Bruno Fernandes gets another PK, making it 22 on the season. And sure enough, in the 9th minute, Bruno Fernandes steps up to convert a penalty to give United the lead before Suso, who had recently come over from Milan, tied it at 1-1. And then midway through the second half, Luke de Jong scores and makes it 2-1 for Sevilla. That's how it would finish. I know Johnny probably is feeling validated, right? In that United didn't really do much, right? The first half, they were totally absent, not really playing well. First 15 minutes of the second half, it looked like they were attacking well, and they just couldn't finish, right? Before Sevilla scored, and then they were just kind of out of it. And then earlier today, Inter just absolutely destroyed Shakhtar Donetsk 5-0. We had 2 goals from Lautaro Martinez, 2 goals from Lukaku. I can't remember who scored the 5th.
Damn, there was a 5th? I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, it was
the header.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was not even close after a while. It was like 1-0 at halftime, and then Inter exploded for another 4 goals.
Danilo Ambrosio scored the header.
Oh, yeah, it was another. D'Ambrosio scored the second one, I believe, before the floodgates opened. And then they dropped 3 more. So this sets us up for, on Friday, Inter versus Sevilla. Well, first of all, let me back up and say, do you guys have anything to say about United for our United fans? It's just...
I do. You want me to start?
Yeah.
So... I saw the game. I saw most of the Sevilla Man U game, and Sevilla were the better team. Man U had a lot of chances, and the Sevilla goalie was I don't know his name, but he had a great, amazing game. He saved a good he saved a good amount of shots, but Sevilla dominated possession. Sevilla of an important thing that these Champions League elite teams can think about is that Sevilla were down 1-0 and they never panicked. They were never thirsty for ideas. They stuck to their game plan. They stuck to their style. And in a one knockout tie, it's easy to panic. It's easy to start thinking of desperate ideas and throwing stuff up, but that's not what makes a great team. What makes a great team is to stick with what you know and to don't psych yourself up on the clock keep playing what you're doing. If that's your style, you stick with it. Sevilla stuck with it throughout the whole game. They're a passing team. Ever Venega is pure class. They have a lot of really good players on the defense too. They have probably the best left back in Spain, and Rugalon or something like that. Who's going back to Madrid, who gave the assist to Suso when he scored, I think. And Sevilla were the better team to me. I know a lot of English media was saying it was just the goalie, but it honestly wasn't. To me, it's a big disappointment for United, who I thought would win. They fielded their best team, and honestly, this is what I've been critiquing of United. They have all the parts now, and I want to see it come together, and it just didn't. There was a big moment in the second goal that they gave up with Luke de Jong, who was PSV's not only top scorer, but the Eredivisie top scorers last season. He scored the game winner, but like that defense was not prepared for that, and they botched it. And then Fernandez and Lindelof had a big argument. United were really never that clear on it. Rashford had a poor game. James, or on the left, I can't remember his name, young kid.
Yeah, Danny James.
They haven't had a great game. And then Ole's not excuse, but what he was saying was that they still need to strengthen. And I'm like, bro, you can't be losing 3 semifinals and always be saying that you need to strengthen, especially when you're Man United. Like, these are the games you need to win. And I still do not see a style with Man U. I've seen fitness levels come up, but I've honestly just seen Fernandez revolutionize the mid and give him a connection between attack and midfield. But Pogba has left a lot to be desired from me. Fred has not been that good. Maguire has not been that good. On the left back position is a complete mystery. Wan-Bissaka is a good defensive mid, but doesn't offer much going up. Marshall, I would get rid of. Rashford has not been great since for a while. He didn't score. He missed a couple, and he had some bad plays. And I don't know. I'm not trying to be too critical of United, but I'm trying to say that if they're going to keep on this path, it's going to be hard for them, especially if all they're trying to do is throw money at it. I don't know that Gunnar Solskjaer has improved a player since he's been at United. Besides maybe Marshall, I mean, who can you guys say that he's improved at United? Greenwood, who's been a youth product, who's been really coming on by himself. Like,
maybe Fred.
I mean, I don't think Fred cuts it either, but it's like, I think as a coach, you need to improve the team, not just with more transfers, but you need to improve with what you got. And granted, he has promoted some of the youth. Their front three is probably good enough to compete in the Premier League, but United, I don't see a style. They were kind of just there for the counter, and it's not going to work, man, especially if Fernandez has an off night, which he kind of did. And then Pogba is, again, he's been lollygagging out there to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm being hard on them, but that's what I saw. I saw a Sevilla team that was more clear. And again, coming up with this thing with teams, it's like team play is how you win. Style.
Yeah, I think Greenwood showed his age a little bit in this match. He didn't have the best match. Rashford was off, right? Martial missed 1 or 2 critical opportunities at the start of the second half. It was United had been playing well. They had been, I guess, undefeated for a while, minus that semifinal loss in the cup. I think it was just due a bad match, right? Like you said, Wan-Bissaka is excellent defensively. And he had his first poor match in a while, I feel like. And also more than anything else, I think Solskjaer substitutions in this one too, right? Going back to coaching. He brought on Mata and Igalo, right? And I think Igalo particularly he brought on too late. When you needed,
he brought both of them too late.
Yeah,
like
way
10
too
minutes
late
after they were already down.
So that was my biggest thing. And then also, I also wouldn't be too discouraged. Like, granted, this is Lopetegui, a new coach for Sevilla, but Sevilla, guys, since our teenage years, has won the Europa, or it used to be called the UEFA Cup. The UEFA Cup or the Europa League 5 times. That's more than anybody else, including 3 times in a row from 2014 to 2016. So Sevilla has some pedigree in this competition. Damn it, dare I say this is their competition, right? Nobody's had more success than them. Which now sets up, again, with a really interesting final. Sevilla versus Inter. Inter just went off and has the capability to score. Sevilla, Ever Banega is a classy player, and this is his last match for Sevilla. He's going to go play in Saudi Arabia after this, and he had a great match against United as well. So we'll see. Again, Europa, I'm not going to lie. A couple weeks ago, I was a little out of it, and I even forgot to mention it. But this sets up to be a very intriguing final for a Friday afternoon. We'll make our pick for it at the end. But you got the pedigree of Sevilla, right? And then you've got Inter with the upstart coach and some firepower up top. Lautaro now has over 20 goals for the season too. Lukaku is over 30 now too, right? He's got more goals than Messi, is what I saw somebody joke about, right? But yeah, I think that should be a good matchup as well on a Friday afternoon. Is there anything you guys want to add about Europa?
Well, am I being too critical of United, or I don't know what you guys think? But
no, I think, like you said, Solskjaer's decisions and substitutions really, I guess, stood out.
They don't want to win it. They don't want to win it. They're already in the Champions League. They don't really care about this. So that's the attitude you give a team to not care about a semifinal in the FA Cup, to not care about the semifinal in the Europa League.
I think they just had a bad match.
I can't remember the other semifinal.
I think they had a bad match this time around. Again, Martial was off. Rashford, Greenwood all had bad matches. And then the other crucial thing that you said, Johnny, too, is the midfield was just completely overrun. Fernandes had, I think, his first bad match in a United shirt, right? So when he wasn't clicking, they just got completely overrun. Fred had to take a yellow card. Yeah, and then, of course, Maguire was put under pressure, and, Lindelof had that mistake. I think it was just a bad match for United, and their inexperience from the coaching position and from some of their players showed, The midfield was what's going to need a tweak no matter what, right? They got to find the right balance or potentially another player there. But other than that, I just saw a bunch of younger players kind of misfiring. I would also agree with what you said, that Martial might be the one player that has truly improved under Solskjaer, right? He's been a little bit more consistent. But even then, maybe a little bit more consistent isn't saying a whole lot, right? Because he's been known to miss a lot of opportunities. And again, Greenwood, he's 18 years old. He's got a lot of minutes. He was due a bad match. So I'm not reading a whole lot into the United loss. I don't feel like they didn't prepare for it or weren't taking it seriously. They just didn't prepare for it right, I guess.
Well, I mean, that's enough about United, but I think Inter has proven to be a pretty good squad. Lukaku's having a good season. Lautaro kind of showed up. He had been quiet in a while. But they show their depth when you can have like Eriksen coming in in the 70-something minute.
Yeah.
Inter is poised to be good next year. So I'm excited to see that squad under Conte.
Oh yeah. They're gonna have Hakimi next year too. Their right back and left back situation has already drastically improved. They're gonna be challenging, I think, Juve there next year too. And Friday, I think, hopefully, as long as it's not like a 1-1, 1-0 type situation, I think we're due a good match. Conte is going to be, passionate, looking for that title, right? Otherwise, he's going to be mad and irked. So I think a lot on the line for them there. Anything you want to add about your boys at Inter, Andres? You think they got this? We're going to win the Europa?
Oh yeah, I mean, Lukaku's a monster, man. He has power, he has skill, he has an eye for goal. Lautaro's coming on hot at the right moment of the season the season, I guess, or the tournament. They're gonna have a lot of physicality in that mid, the defense. I mean, that's why you bring on winners like Diego Godin, just for these type of tournaments where you have to show, look, we got guys that have been here before. So I think they're gonna just keep that momentum going. I don't see them having too much trouble in the final.
Awesome. Well, since we bring up the Europa League final, this brings us to the last part of the show where we make our picks. Now, due to the fact that Champions League is in the semifinal stage and Europa is in the final, we only have 3 matches to pick from this week, boys. So we got a higher percentage for success here, depending on how you look at it. So we'll start with the Champions League semifinal. The first semifinal tomorrow on the 18th at 2 p.m. We have RB Leipzig versus PSG. Who do you guys got?
I mean, I got PSG winning the whole thing, so I'm taking PSG.
Damn, just like that.
Yeah.
Look, when Di Maria plays, that guy is a assist machine. When Neymar isn't tasked with creating and finishing everything, I think I'm gonna go PSG with this one. I know I said Leipzig, but man, you got Mbappe back healthy. You got Di Maria. Those guys, Neymar by himself almost tore apart Atalanta. I mean, if he has to, unless like maybe, I don't know, Leipzig scores early and PSG just make a lot of individual errors, which happens. I mean, look at I think that's how they lost against some team back in last season, where they made mistakes in the back at the last crucial moment. Oh no, they lost to Man U. They gave up that penalty. So I mean, I can see that happening. It's PSG. We always make the joke that PSG, crashes out, bottles it. So this could be the ultimate bottling for PSG, make an individual error up, I don't know, 2-1, and they lose 2-2 and extra time. So as much as I want that to happen, I don't think it will. So I think I'm going to convince myself here PSG as well.
All right. I'm going to go PSG as well, because this is their best chance to win this tournament. I think that's as far as they'll go, but they should be able, I think. I mean, more than anything, they bit me in the ass this last time around. I thought they could be out, and then they come out and strike with 2 goals. Never blow anybody out in the Champions League. Then on Wednesday, the 19th at 2 p.m. as well, we have Olympique Lyon versus Bayern. Bayern all across or what?
I mean, we might have all 3 picks the same, but yeah, I got Bayern.
I mean, these are all the expected picks. If you're betting odds are all on these picks. I mean, I chose Bayern, but like I said, Lyon scares me. I would not be surprised if Bayern gets upset in this game by Lyon, and we have, for the first time, all French. I don't know if we had an all French final, but we've had an all Spain, all German, all EPL. Fuck it, all French now. So I'm going Bayern, but I'm weary of Lyon. That's all I'll say.
All right, and then finally the Europa League final on Friday, also at 2 p.m. Sevilla
you
versus
Bayern then?
Yeah, I picked Bayern as well.
Okay.
Sevilla or Inter for the Europa League final?
Inter?
Yeah, I think Sevilla might be the favorite, honestly, but I'm picking Inter. I'm a little worried to pick Inter, but I think they should pull through. Because how about you said, Sevilla's won the tournament so many times. This is kind of their tournament. They have more of an incentive to win the tournament. Or did they finish top 4?
They did finish top 4.
So you see, it's pretty even. Yeah, it's pretty even for for Inter or Sevilla. But I think Inter has more depth. But in a one-off game, it kind of doesn't matter. If you throw on the depth too late, it might be too late. But I think Lukaku, I don't know. I
We've
got
we've
Inter just 'cause
we've
I've been having them all
we've
year.
seen Inter in these situations though, and we've seen Inter bottle it. Like big games against Juve, against Lazio, like they come up short. So that would be my only critique against Inter, that maybe in the biggest of stages they don't really have it all. So
Yeah, especially when they're up one or down one, it seems like it's impossible for them to come back. And that's my critique of them. If they're not up, and even when they're up just one, they kind of play a lot more defensive. And then when they're down one, it seems like they can't make it up, you know? But they have the depth. I mean, Eriksson off the bench and Sanchez off the bench. Because I don't think they started today. It was Lukaku and Lautaro.
Yep.
yeah. For me, the key is Lautaro. He's in form, so that just complements Lukaku perfectly right now.
All right, I'm gonna go Sevilla to make the one different pick for this week. Otherwise, we've all got the same picks. Sevilla's won it 5 times, including 3 times in a row recently. Granted, this is a different group of players and a different coach. But the way I saw them play United, the way I saw Vanega, he's inspired right now. I think Sevilla can push Inter. Although, again, I wouldn't either way, I'm not surprised, and I wouldn't be disappointed. Both of these teams have played really well down the stretch here. But I just think Sevilla, they just own it. They're going to make it their 6th and become, the absolute masters of this thing. So there you have it. Those are our picks for the week. Thank you guys for checking us out and hanging in there. I know we talked for a long time today, but really the Champions League so far has been absolutely historic, absolutely shocking, surprising. And we're winding down. So I want to make sure we get everybody caught up as we get ready for the final this weekend. So quick other notes, MLS is resuming in home markets this week. Matches already played in FC Dallas and Nashville. In Dallas, actually, they played to some controversy. The players took a knee. And there's actually fans, guys, in some of these MLS matches, which I'm not a fan of. These fans, some of these fans in Dallas booed the players taking a knee for social justice issues. And then on Thursday, the rest of the league returns with teams playing regionally. So the Fire actually plays on Thursday against Columbus. So you'll catch me watching that on ESPN Plus. And also quickly checking on Mexico, where 2 of the Giants are tied for first place so far. America and Cruz Azul are both on 10 points. They've both lost one match. America got spanked this last weekend, 4-1 by Querétaro. And a lot of people are asking some questions of America now. Meanwhile, Chivas gets their second win, their first win under their new head coach, Vucetich, who's had some success in championships. I think most recently under Monterrey there in Champions. That's the last time he won a championship is with Monterrey. So Chivas with the new coach, already with a W under their belt. America and Cruz Azul tied on 10 points. Pumas kind of hanging around in there. And as the league continues to develop, and as European soccer winds down a little bit, we'll keep you posted on Liga MX. But yeah, thanks again for joining us on this longer episode. Make sure you watch the semifinal tomorrow and Wednesday, Europa League final on Friday, and then the Champions League final on Sunday. MLS and Liga MX, all in between that. So there's lots of football on for you guys. For Johnny, Andres, and Rafa, thank you guys. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, leave a like, and we'll catch you guys next Monday with the Champions League and Europa League results. Who will the champions be?
If we try to do the watch along, watch out for that.
Oh yeah, be on the lookout. I didn't want to. I keep forgetting because there's been so much talked about already, but we could potentially do the first of its kind watch along Champions League final Sunday. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that. You should definitely hit the subscribe though, so that you can get word of it if it happens. But that'll do it for us tonight, guys. Thanks again, and we'll see y'all soon. Peace out.
Yep.
Have a good night. We out of here.
Hope you.
Take us out.
Hey.
and so